You're welcome back, Sister, on Citi TV and 97.3 Citi FM. Our WhatsApp number is still open, 054-998-6996. All right, so let's go right into our second message, and here it is.
Hi, Jess. I'm a 28-year-old lady. I was born into a very strict Christian family where premarital sex is frowned upon. This hindered me from dating much since it's a prerequisite for fornication. Fast forward, I met this young man in 2018 and things were looking good for us till we started having issues. I realized that our views about life and everything were just always opposite. So we broke up in January 2020. My problem now is after the breakup, though we don't talk or see each other, I fantasize a lot about him sexually. Sometimes when I'm at work, I have that intense urge. I just feel like having sex with him, nothing more. It's difficult for me to deal with it because of my status in church. I just can't talk to anyone. Please help me, worried lady.
All right, Tina, let me come to you.
Why?
Why not, Charlie?
Okay, this has been my cry for some time now. My cry has been that our churches, some of our churches are not conducive for young people. Why am I saying that? Because when you're going through such a thing, you don't even know who to turn to. You can't talk to anybody in the church. You're always wondering, like, if I speak up, I'm a sinful person. If I don't speak up, I'm the one suffering. Who do I turn to? You can see that her views are very narrow of the world before she even entered the world, because she didn't date because she thought that, okay, it's a prerequisite for sexual dealings. Do you get this? You've been told, you've been preconditioned that you cannot date because once you date, you will fornicate, and that would lead to
other things.
Yeah. So we come into the world, or we face the world, and we're always thinking, hey, this, that. So when we fall into any trouble, we're stuck. We don't know how to deal. If we were taught that this is the consequence of fornication, when you are proceeding, you will proceed with care and you'll be cautious. Anyway, my musings are over. What do you do? Just what's she asking again?
No, she says essentially she's fantasizing about the guy now, you know, and would like to pretty much satisfy her urges. And she's saying it's difficult for her to deal with everything she's going through because of her status in church, right? So she's sort of throwing it out there and wants our opinion and everything.
This is a true state of a lot of people, and a lot of people find themselves in responsible positions in church, yet have some wild fantasies and are involved in some wild things out there, and they don't have anyone to talk to. The thing is, I don't know what you're doing, what you have. Okay, let me rephrase. You most likely are fantasizing about him because you probably have some memories of him, or you have some pictures of him, or you're still in touch with him, and then you communicate.
Okay.
That's what I feel.
You're assuming, okay.
So if you're doing that, cut it off. I always tell you, Jess, it's always very good to detach yourself completely from situations that will harm you.
No, you do it well.
I do it well, but I think you can train yourself to do that. It takes some time. Sometimes it's so difficult to detach yourself from situations, but do it. If you fall again, rise up and do it. You just have to do that. Otherwise, you know.
You can pray about it. Oh.
You see, it is, I don't even know whether I can say this term. It's total balderdash. For you to say that, pray about what?
the feeling, so it'll go away.
Thing is that practical life is spirituality. Living the practical life will actually eventually make you a spiritual person. I don't want to even get into that, but I'm just saying that you going down on your knees and not being practical about the situation will not
solve the problem.
So you need to detach yourself. You need to delete his number. If you follow him on Facebook, unfollow him. The thing is that you need to cut it off. If you think you fall into any situation that will embarrass you in church, cut it off.
But how do you cut your mind off, like, so to speak?
I mean,
it's happening up here, you see.
You see, the thing is a start. It's always not an easy journey. It's always a start. The cutting off is a start. Then when you don't get things to feed your mind about that same problem, then it begins to,
reduce
fade
or
away.
Fade away.
So time and detaching yourself always brings you to completion. I always believe that.
All right.
Yeah.
Olivia, can she pray her troubles away? I mean, that might be a good solution.
I always go on about praying on things, and yes, for me, it really doesn't matter if she prays or she doesn't pray, because sometimes I also feel like a genuine prayer to God to say, oh, like, dear Lord Jesus, like, I don't know what to do about myself regarding this guy. Please help. Can help. But then again, to God has also given us wisdom, and sometimes it's common sense, because, my dear, this guy, right, go back to the basics. Exactly why did you break up with him? Okay, why did you break up with him? You broke up with him because his views or his dreams or his goals were not aligned to yours. Okay, if it's not aligned today, what makes you think having sex with him tomorrow or marrying him tomorrow is going to change it? Like, sweetheart, it will not. Maybe you don't know. Let me tell you. Okay, this guy here, both of you don't have the same vision. You don't share the same goals. You don't share the same aspirations. And what makes relationships beautiful is when both couples, sort of share the same ideologies. It helps to fast track the entire bonding process, so that in future, when you guys at least have kids, you know that, oh, this is what mommy likes. Mommy likes to dance. Daddy likes to sing, or loves to cook or something. At least it's the same. Or daddy's intentions about life, about religion, about stuff. Both of you are on the same page. So if you're not on the same page, I don't see why you should be sitting around fantasizing about this guy. So you have sex with him, and then what? I can understand. Trust me, I can understand where you're coming from. You've broken up with him, so you feel like, Charlie, I really used to love this guy. We were together, we were happy and stuff. But Charlie, when the love and the sensitivity and the attraction is all gone downhill, reality sets in, my dear. And you have to be, you have to use your common sense, and you have to be practical about stuff like this. So I'm using this as an opportunity to sort of shake you up and let you realize that he's not worth it. Because what's going to happen is that if you pursue him, right, he's going to impose his ideologies on you. Okay, yours would really not matter. You're not going to be happy. You have sex with him, I'm fast forwarding everything, have some babies. And then what's going to happen? Are you going to be happy with him? So try and look at the future. Try and look at what you see for yourself, what you want for yourself. Do you want to be happy with your life? Do you want to be happy with the person that you're with, 110%? I'm not saying that everybody is perfect. All I'm saying is that at least you both need to be on the same page on most issues. It doesn't have to be everything, but at least most of it. You know that, Charlie, at least 80 to 90%, yeah, Charlie, we roll on the same level, the basics. And the 10%, Charlie, you can go and deal with it later, because it doesn't break or ruin the relationship whatsoever. Okay, and regarding you being a virgin and the church and all of that, for me, this is where sometimes I feel parenting is very important. My 7-year-old and 10-year-old, the word we talk about, like, we're open about everything. And kids are exposed to all sorts of things subconsciously and consciously. The TV is on, they're watching a regular movie, people are kissing. So I've sort of opened up the conversation about sex, not into detail, but they have an idea, on their level. They know, oh, it's not good to even do bad kisses. It's just that that word and that conversation is open in my home. Yeah. So if something happens at school, my daughter quickly comes to tell me, or my son quickly comes to tell me, or my son and my daughter have a conversation. But they go to mommy and daddy when they are not clear about something, because we have made it easy for them to come to us. Okay, so if a church is not helping you, I'm probably thinking mommy and daddy are also probably for mommy and for papa. And that's where so many bad stuff happens, whereby it's all about putting a whole religious face. But sex is real. It's part of life. And if you can't go to your mommy and your daddy to talk to them about sex or talk to them about even your emotions, then, Charlie, are you going or are you coming? Mm-hmm. But I can understand that this is the situation in which you are in. It's toxic. So I'm glad that at least you reached out to us, and we're here and we'll tell you the truth as sisters. So, sweetheart, you don't want to be having sex with him, and it's good that you're a virgin, okay? Try and just continue to keep yourself, okay, until the right man comes along who is ready and who shares the same dreams as you do, and you guys can move and take it to the next level of marriage. But this is one thing I want to tell you, okay? As you're going on, okay, try and get rid of this guy. Know that he's toxic for you. Like Tina said, block his number, delete him, unfound Kosifre. Giving yourself to him will not change the situation. His mind is the way it is. Good sex wouldn't change it. Bad sex wouldn't change it. So, Charlie, forget about that. It's hard, but Charlie, you need to man up and forget about that. And then since you're very prayerful, right? This is what I'm thinking. While you're going out there, just continue to pray to God for the spirit of discernment, to be able to discern a good man from a bad man. Because they're all there. You have men in sheepskin coming there. They'll tell you, oh, I love you. I need to, I want to buy this for you. I'll do this. And then, they end up sleeping with you and you don't know. I know that sometimes it's hard, but, as much as you're praying, also be alert. There's certain things that you want. There's certain values that you want, okay, in a man. And you need to write it down. If he comes along and you think that he doesn't fit your status quo, my dear, let him go. This whole thing about thinking that a good man won't come your way in some way. Trust me, I would rather you wait till you're 50 years to find the right person who will give you peace of mind and make you happy. If you force yourself because you're in love, because you don't mind, you will get into some kind of marriage that will end you up in the psych ward, and you don't want that. It is not a rush. Take your time. Things will fall in place, and don't have sex. Now, finish.
Alrighty. Rosina, how can she deal with this sexual urge? Because that's what seems to be driving her crazy. Any advice for her?
Okay, now before I can give an advice, I want to diagnose the problem a little differently. Her first submission said she's coming from a strict Christian home.
That's right.
Emphasis on strict. And that's the mistake a lot of Christians make in their families. So you realize that instead of imbibing principles in them, instead of making their family sort of understand why, they take them through the regiment of being a Christian. Sunday, you go to church, no questions asked. You join the choir, no questions asked. You join the ushering team, no questions asked. That is how to be a proper Christian. So Christianity has become regimented in a lot of people's lives. And it's not even just parents, even the churches. If you miss church 1, 2, 3, then they'll say you're backsliding. You don't even care what you're going through. So this is it. So that strict parental home, she's going through the motions of Christianity, but does she really understand the Christianity? Because in her last submission, she said the sex is going to go against her status in church.
That's right.
Now that status in church is like a job rise. You came to work, national service, you're employable, you are going, assistant 1, assistant 2, manager 1, manager 2. Now, you got into a high status. But the question is that, are you truly a principled person in your heart as an individual? So the battles you are fighting are against the laws of Christianity, not against your principles. That's one. Two, you haven't dated for a long time, or you haven't been exposed to dating to begin with, because in your mind, like Tina said, the dating leads to fornication. So again, another military, stance. Don't date. If you date, you're definitely going to fornicate. If you fornicate, you're going to go to hell. You'll not be forgiven. Now, even if you don't go to hell first, and they even find out, will shame you in the church. You sit in the back row. So there's no way you can. So the whole thing, you know that it is not a ground to even tread on. Meanwhile, there's nothing wrong with dating and having friendships where you get to know the opposite sex, how they think, and have the support of your parents, the church, and people around you to counsel you, advise you as you go through the stages. Now you meet a man. Now this man, I'm sure you are 28 now, so which means that if you've been dating for 2 years, you met him at 26. Now 26 is somewhat a ripe age to want to get hooked, to get married, have children and all of that. Now, this is your first relationship of being with a man. And in your mind, you think that it has to lead to marriage. Because this is your first real relationship. You can say, I dated and I had a boyfriend. So you were expecting a Cinderella story. I've been a virgin till 26 years old. I met a man. He's willing not to touch me. Then reality struck. He's a man with flaws, with principles, with ideologies, with thoughts, with behavioral patterns that are so different from yours. So you get the root shock. But now, because you felt that this was your real relationship, maybe you gave yourself 2 years, or after 2 years, you are going to get married. And after marriage, you are finally going to experience this sex in the sanctity of a marriage. However, the thing didn't travel to the 2 years. It didn't travel to the marriage where you wanted it to go for you to experience it. So it's like, Adiano, it's in your throat. You thought you were about tasting it. But as soon as it was like, I can't cry over taste, then they've snatched it from you. It's like somebody says, I'm giving you something to taste. You stretched out your tongue. They've dropped it on your tongue and they quickly take it back away. Now, to wait again, to find somebody else, to go through that process, you feel like, Charlie, I give my tray her check. So she is just testing for something she has been dreaming, thinking of for the longest time in her life. And in her mind, she thought that finally I'm going to get there. And when she didn't get there, she's filled with so much disappointment. And the only person she can think who can justify her doing that with is this ex, because one, well, he's been with me for 2 years. So everybody can understand that, meaning it's not check a crack before it happened. So she's battling with herself. But this is what I get to tell you, that look, the reason why she's also suffering is that what is preventing her from having sex is not something she truly understands. It's just something she's obeying without complaint. Yeah. If she truly understood it, it didn't matter. If she truly understood it, she wouldn't be like, she would stick to her principles of not having sex before marriage. If she truly understood it, that decision to have sex would be her decision, and she would own it, no matter the consequences. But it looks like everything is based on church, which is the building. And unfortunately, they broke up in January. Corona lockdown started in March. Churches are not meeting. So the energy to even go to church, maybe you see the pastor's face and even feel guilty about wanting to have sex, that support system, Otilo, is gone.
Yeah. So
you're at home, the structure and the human beings who are giving you that support to keep you chaste, it's no more even readily available. So right now, 24/7, you are being forced to practice Christianity as a true Christian at home. Because you don't understand it. It is, or I don't know, because it's not yours. You're only following something that you were born into, taught to follow by checking a checklist, go to church, do this, rise through the ranks, do this. Maybe they're even training her to become a sofo mommy. Who never knows? Or become a sofo herself. So I am saying that, look, take some time, go into yourself, ask yourself, why am I still a virgin till 28? Is it because I've been told I have to be a virgin? Or is it because I understand why I should be a virgin? 1. 2, what are the pros and cons? If I have to take this decision now, would I blame myself in future that I let myself down for going against something I have protected for so long? Because for 28 years, after that, I cannot get to then go and do the thing. Then after that, you realize that you start hating yourself because you feel that if I just exercised a little bit of restraint, maybe I wouldn't have crossed that barrier. So ask yourself these hard questions. And for the sacrifice that you have done, ask yourself, would you want it thrown in thin air over an ex that you know very well that you differ on so many issues and you don't want to be with? Now, the thing is that when you are with people that you're having sex with, sometimes it clouds your judgment as to whether you really want to be with this person or not. At least you are lucky. You have seen the person for who they are and you don't want to be with the person. Having sex with that person only complicates issues because if you do have sex and you do enjoy it, now that becomes a reason to want to get hooked to that person. But the thing about sex and all those romance and all those things is that sometimes or most times they fade out. As in, a time is going to come where the enjoyment you receive from it is not going to be always at a high. Sometimes it's actually at a low, sometimes it will go high, sometimes it oscillates. Then when the real issues start hitting you again, you know that no, this was a horrible decision you made. So my dear, what I'll tell you is that you're lucky that you realize that this man wasn't meant for you. 2, get back to basics. Why did you stay a virgin? Try and imbibe those reasons to become your personal principles. Those things will guide you in protecting yourself. It's not about the physical church. It's not about your status in church. It is not about what your parents think. It's about you. Now, when you start thinking like that, it's easier. The edge will still be there. But once the edge comes, you can talk to yourself quickly and then calm yourself down. If it's singing, you have to sing, you do. If it's running a marathon or maybe just going out for a jog, you have to do to calm the edge down, you do. There are so many things people do to calm their edges down. You try and explore some of these things. Get a hobby, get something doing, get busy. If it's work. If it's something, do something. Takes your mind off the whole experience. But the experience, dear Beba, but let your personal principles, what you want. Because in this world, whatever decision you make, you need to own those decisions. Because it's your decision, you learn to deal with it and not blame others. So please, I beg you.
All right.
Don't go chasing that man for sex. That's all I'll say.
Okay. I'll just piggyback on what you just said, Rosina. For me, I just don't want her to feel bad about the way she feels because sexual urges are human. They're to be expected. And for women, and I don't know about you ladies, but usually even towards that time of the month, that's when you feel them the most, you know, and it's normal. You know, and I don't think you should feel ashamed of it because sex in itself isn't a bad thing, you know. So just make sure that whatever it is that you're doing is within your own principles and what you believe in. If for instance, your Christian faith says wait until you get married to have sex, like she's saying, Rosina was saying, you know, make sure you understand why it's necessary, why it's important, and try and make those things yours. Not to belabor the point, but that's just the way to go. And find a distraction. Okay? Find a distraction. Sometimes these things occupy your thoughts when you are bored. Maybe you're saying these things happen at work. Maybe you're not being engaged enough at work. Because trust me, if you had some serious project knocking on your door, deadlines, the last thing on your mind will be sex with some, you know, random guy, a guy who's left you or you broke up with a couple of months ago. So yeah, find a distraction and I think you should be fine. Thank you so much for watching Sister Sister on your favorite Citi TV. Now, don't forget, if you want some more exciting content, you can always subscribe to our YouTube channel. We call it the Citi Tube. And don't forget to click on the bell to receive notifications for fresh updates.
Sister Sister, every Friday at 9 p.m. only on Citi TV.